Let me quickly share my screen. One minute. So as Mr. Emmanuel has said, right, we'll be looking at efficient content discovery in Microsoft 365 using content search. What if, let's say, like Emmanuel has said, can you hear me, please?
Yes, please.
All right.
Yeah, I can hear you.
So, let's say we are system administrators or we are modern workplace engineers. We are Microsoft 365 administrators, right? And then your CEO walks up to you and said, I want to see the chart between Joshua and Emmanuel Oyimafu. Or I sent an email to Emmanuel. However, I can't see the email in my inbox, in my outbox anymore. And then confirming from Emmanuel, Emmanuel is also saying he can't see the email, right? Or maybe Joshua has left the company, and then Joshua is I would like to see some emails from Joshua's account, from Joshua's previous email address, right? Joshua's account might have been turned into a shared mailbox, converted into a shared mailbox, or Joshua's account might even have been deleted or deprecated, or the license removed, right? It's not a shared mailbox. The account has been blocked from signing in, or signing out from all platforms have been done, right? And then the CEO wants to see the email in Joshua's account. Yeah, you want to see the emails in Joshua's account. You don't have to go and look for Joshua again, right? You don't have to go and look for Joshua again, or even if Joshua is still in the organization or Emmanuel is still in the organization, you don't have to go and see or meet Emmanuel physically, yeah, to what's the name, to check for those emails from his or her mailbox and all that, right? So all you need to do is to carry out what we call content search. Sorry, please, I'm still trying to share my screen. So just using this time to just brief us on what content search is, and how useful content search is to Microsoft 365, right? And all that. Okay. As Emmanuel has also stated, please let's pen down our questions. It's going to be a full package today, and then we'll try to manage the time to see how we can cover up. Okay, so I'm having an issue sharing, so let me use this method of sharing my screen. So please confirm you can see my screen now.
I can see your screen. I can see your screen, yeah.
All right, so let me go to, okay, let me play the video. Let me see. Okay, sorry, we've passed all these points. Yeah. So the table of content for today is we would be looking at getting started with content search, assigning or assign e-discovery permissions. You'll be wondering what concerns content search with e-discovery. Would also look at the subscription needed to run content search, and then we'll also look at limits, right? So for everything, right, there is a limit to things you can actually do with content search, and then e-discovery. We have both the standard and then the premium. And then we would also quickly perform some content search from the Purview portal and then using PowerShell. So again, you'd learn how to run content search from the GUI, the portal, and then you also learn basics of PowerShell if you have not used PowerShell before, and then we'll see how to also export content search results. So under the perform content portal and PowerShell, we'll also look at how to delete some of those things, right? The content search we carried out, right? We'll see how to delete them, and that can only be done via PowerShell. So quickly, just to avoid distractions, right? I'll just speak quickly on some things. Please, can you confirm that you can still see my screen? I don't know. PowerPoint.
It's coming up. It's coming up. Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay. It's going back to the beginning again. All right. Getting started with content search, and in the slide I also provided some Microsoft documentations, right, that we can also look at, and we will look at some of them together today. I said Microsoft documentations because we are Microsoft, right? And we're talking about content search in Microsoft. So it's best we always check out Microsoft documentations, and whatever you don't find in Microsoft documentations and you find them outside Microsoft documentations, right, especially using PowerShell, Microsoft will not be liable to for any damage whatsoever, right? So it's better we always stick with Microsoft documentations. So content search e-discovery tool, what is it and what is it used for? Basically, we have the compliance portal. We have different portals in Microsoft 365 where we can perform different functions, different activities as admins, right? So one of them is the compliance portal, which is now the Microsoft Purview portal, right? And in that portal, that's where you can actually carry out some searches to see discussions, communications between two people in teams. You can search through someone's SharePoint. Because people can create SharePoint and they are the owners of SharePoint. You can search for files and all that. You can also check through Teams where you search for files in Teams and also conversations between two or more people, right? You can also search through OneDrive and then Microsoft Exchange Online. That's where we have our emails and all that, right? So the content search e-discovery tool is actually a tool that is used to search content such as emails, documents, instant messages, instant conversations in your organization. So this has to be in your organization. I mean, your tenant, your Microsoft 365. So your Microsoft 365 tenant represents your organization. That's where you have all your users added, communications via email, communications via Teams, conference calls, video calls, and other security protocols, security procedures, and policies that are put in place. So the Microsoft 365 tenant represents your organization. That's why you have the organization at the end of this statement. And then we would look at this document to see more on content search, right? So this is just a quick brief on what the table of content basically. So and then we would also see the assignment of permission or e-discovery permissions, right? Basically for you to perform content search, and before you even perform content search, for you to be able to access the compliance portal, you have to be a part of the organization management role group. So there are different roles and different permission levels in Microsoft 365, right? And for you, depending on your role you are given in your organization by the administrator, that's depending on the role you are given, that's what you can see. So it's always advised. We always advise that few people should have the global admin role, and then other people can have other sub roles like SharePoint administrator, Exchange administrator, user administrator, and other roles that are available in Microsoft 365. So you can be a compliance administrator, and then all you can do is to access the compliance or the purview portal. So for you to be able to access the purview portal, you must be part or a member of the organization management role. That's the first step. And then for you to perform content search, you must also have the e-discovery manager role. So the e-discovery manager role is also different from the e-discovery administrator. So if you have the e-discovery manager, it means you would also have the e-discovery administrator role. So first thing first, you have to be a member of the organization management role, and then you have to be assigned the e-discovery manager role. Next is the subscription needed. From my experience, from what I know, right, based on documentations and the discussions we've had, right, internally, right, I am aware that all subscriptions can actually access the purview portal as long as you are a member of the organization. You are the member of the organization management role, and then you have the e-discovery manager role assigned to you. However, if you remember, I mentioned something about standard. So we have the content search e-discovery standard, then we have the content search e-discovery premium. So this is basically for the standard. For the premium, yeah, it's the same thing. However, you need higher subscriptions like the E5, E3, E1, Microsoft 365 or Office 365, E3, E5, or F3, I think F5 and the likes, right? So yes, if you notice, you'll see on that on each of the slide, there are Microsoft documentations also to this effect. We would look at all that. And then, like I said, there are limitations. Basically, Microsoft puts this limitation in place to ensure that the health, the sanity of the Microsoft 365 system and services is kept in check, right? Because if there are no limitations, a lot of us, we can just say, okay, we want to go on Microsoft 365 today and see how we can make it fail, right? And then we begin to perform some impossible task, and then overloaded with DDoS attacks and a lot of things, right? But again, limitations are put in place even in the normal procedures, normal processes of carrying out content search, just to ensure that the health and quality of services provided. Someone saying something, please.
Sorry, I think the person just mistakenly on mute also.
Okay, all right. So yeah, and then we would also look at the limit quickly. And then the next thing, we'll see how to perform content search using the GUI, the portal, the Microsoft Purview portal. And then we would also look at how to perform content search using PowerShell. PowerShell is a very powerful tool. It's an advanced, I'll take command line tool, right, that you can use to perform a lot, not just in Microsoft 365, right, even in on-premise space, in the on-premise space, when you have Exchange on-premise and even to carry out some other functions. And I believe, or I think we also have PowerShell for Mac also and for Linux. So it can be used across different space. So you can compare it to the Linux terminal or the shell, bash shell in Mac OS, right? So however, this is I'm a Microsoft MVP, so I would tell Microsoft this is more powerful, I would say. And then we would also see how to export the content we have searched for. So I worked recently with someone, an American, and then someone left the organization and they wanted to see the chat between the guy and one other person, right? And then the guy said, how can he do that? We had to go through content search, and it's one thing to run content search. It's also another thing to export the results. And then when we tried, I also worked with someone, we were looking for an email, and then we saw the email, we did everything. Then to export, we were using Google Chrome, right? And then the export tool would download, but however, it was not installing. Yeah, we had to go back to use Microsoft Edge. So for you to perform export of content search result, our advice, you always use Microsoft Edge, because after exporting, when you try to export, there is a particular tool you also download, you install, and then some keys. We'll see all that today, and then go from there. So I think that's the end of the table, the table of content, right? Let's quickly jump into I'll go back to this. I'll just have this. I know you can see everything on my screen. So getting started with content search. So I have that open here.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Joshua. You have some questions on the chat. I think we should look at those questions. So we can just, yeah.
All right.
So
Thank
someone
you.
is asking, they say, the person asks, they say, going by your introduction narration, let's ask a quick one. An investigation is going on and I got to a point where an ex-staff member mails has to be assessed. Are you saying content search is the way that can be done, or there's another way it could be? Yeah, that's the question, the one you're on now.
Okay. So like I said, it depends. If a staff leaves an organization, right? And then if let's say you're looking for some emails. Is it emails? Did you talk about emails? Yes, mails, right? If that person's or that ex-staff account is not converted to a shared mailbox, so you can, let me quickly talk about shared mailbox. You can convert an account, you can create a shared mailbox from scratch. You can convert a user mailbox to a shared mailbox. That's if someone leaves the organization, right? And then multiple persons can have access to that shared mailbox, right? So that they can go through your emails and both sent and received emails, right? But if that account is not converted to a shared mailbox, and if so, let me say it this way. The first part is if the account is converted to a shared mailbox, you can go into the Microsoft 365 portal and give delegate access, right? And then you're able to check the emails and then the both sent and received emails. But if that account is not converted to a shared mailbox, that's another scenario. And the third scenario is, for example, that account has even been deleted from the portal. Yes, you can perform content search. If there is no hold, yes, even if there is a hold, yeah, you can perform content search to find those emails, as long as if there is no hold on it, and if the period of that hold is not expired. So let's say you place a hold on a mailbox, right, for 30 days or for 90 days. After 90 days, the content of that mailbox should be purged, right? I'm not sure content search would get that for you, but if there is no hold at all on that mailbox, I'm very, very sure that content search will bring that out for you, right? So yes, content search is the way for you to go. That's if the account is deleted and it's not a shared mailbox, right? So I'm saying if it's not a shared mailbox because that account license might have been removed for over 30 days, right? And those emails might have been purged. Yeah, but however, even if they are purged, then they purged folders, because there are other folders that you can't see in Outlook, right? Even if they're in those folders, deletions folders, yes, content search would find them out. Content search will find them out. I hope I've been able to answer your question. So who is knocking me off, please? I tried to log in. Any other question? Does it search for files and pictures? Yes, it does. So if you're searching, we'll look at that if you're searching through your OneDrive or your SharePoint. Yeah. Are messages exchanged within MS Teams encrypted? Yes, they should be encrypted. However, so most times why people even do content searches, maybe you have a legal case, and if there's what we called there's what we call um if I remember, I'll mention there are two types, right? We have the in place hold, and then we have there's another type of hold, right? So there is one that it's actually giving. Say again.
Litigation.
Yes, litigation hold. Yes, litigation hold. Thank you. So if you have a court case, a litigation hold is actually placed on all of on everything on your on that tenant, on that Microsoft 365 tenant, right? And then yes, you can search for pictures, you can search for files, documents, you can search for emails, conversations, even in Teams, right? And all that. Yes, you can do that. Can we have questions at the end of the demo? Joseph. Okay. So I think I've been able to answer that. And yes, I have some of my other colleagues here. Emmanuel himself is here. Joseph is here, and others are also here. So they can also speak in respect to the questions and the answers I've given. Yeah. So let's go ahead then. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. So quickly, looking at content search, getting started with content search, I explained it while I was going through the slide, right? It's just a tool that you use to search for content, for emails, for documents, for messages, right? And then, like I also mentioned, before you start, you also need to be assigned the e-discovery manager role. And then for you to access the portal, the Purview portal, you must be a member of the organization management, right? And then let me see. Sorry, let me move this. Yeah. Then for the rules, let me quickly just show us the documents I provided for the rules, right? You have the e-discovery manager, and then I also spoke about the e-discovery administrator, which is also a member of the e-discovery manager role and group that performs content search and all that. So I always like to assign the e-discovery manager role because this would also cover both for you to run the content search and then for export also. And then yes, so these are the subscriptions that are available, that content search that can allow you to actually carry out content search. You have the Microsoft 365 Business Basic Standard. You also have the Premium, E1, E3, E5. That's of Microsoft 365 E3 and E5, Office 365 E3 and E5. So some Office 365 subscriptions or licenses are still available, right? And you should try to know the difference between Office 365 licenses and Microsoft 365 licenses. And then we have Exchange Online Plan 2, Plan 1, and all that. So if I scroll down here, let me see, policy, and yeah, I should be able to see the Purview. Yes, Microsoft Purview. I should be able to see the content search also, which shows that content search, which shows that it's available for all of them, as you can see here. So the next is the limit. There are other limitations actually. I spoke about earlier, but just to see, you would see that the maximum number of mailboxes or sites that can be searched in a single search is 1,000, right? But I also advise not to search up to 1,000. You can do 900 or 900 plus, but not 1,000. But yes, the maximum is 1,000. The maximum number of items found in all users' mailbox is also 1,000. And then other other limitations that you can also see here. The maximum size of items that can be viewed on the preview page is 10,000 bytes, which is 9.5 megabytes. And then there are others also. The minimum number of alphanumeric prefix wildcards you can have is 3, and a lot of other limitations, export limitations. You see the maximum amount of exportable data from a single search is 2 terabytes, and the maximum size of a PST file that can be exported is 10 gig, and then all this, right? All these documents will be provided to us so that we can also have a full grasp. We can also consume them and have a full grasp of what content search is and how to perform content search. So quickly, let's jump into performing content search, right? We would also look at how to do that using PowerShell and then and a lot more. So I have it open here, but I'll close it. So first, let me start from the beginning. You would have to sign into office.com with your admin credentials, right? You have to be an admin, a global admin or a compliance admin to perform this. Then I can click on admin, which opens the admin page for me, right? And then I have admin page open. I click on show all, and then I come to compliance. I mentioned earlier that we have other admin centers, right? We have a lot of them for security of your organization or your tenant, right? We have the Intune, we have identity. So this identity was formerly called Azure Active Directory. It's now identity. We have that for Exchange, we have SharePoint, we have Teams. And if you click on all admin centers, you would see more. But for today, we would be looking at just the compliance portal, right? So it's coming up. As you can see in the URL in the search bar, it's showing compliance.microsoft.com. However, you'll be presented with this. The compliance portal is retired, and then you should be redirected in 6 seconds to the Purview portal. I'll just wait for it to redirect me, and let's see. So, and then you see the URL changes to purview.microsoft.com. Very soon, and when you click on compliance, it will take you directly to the Purview portal. You won't have to even see the page where it says it will redirect you, right? So let's wait for this to come up. You have a lot you can do in this portal, but for today, we are only concerned with the content search. So when I get to this portal, I click on solutions, and then I'm presented with a lot of other things I can do here. I have related portal, Defender, Entra, Fabric, Priva, and Microsoft Trust, Service Trust. I can also check on DLP, data loss prevention, and I can also check the data lifecycle and other things. But yeah, let's go to e-discovery. E-discovery, and under e-discovery, I would see the classic e-discovery. That's where I have the content search. We have premium cases, we have standard cases. For premium, you would have to be assigned the E5 to be able to perform anything under the e-discovery or content search using the premium, right? So well, let's go with the standard classic one. Click on content search, and then you are presented with this page, right? I think I've performed some content searches before, yeah, so it should bring them out. So today, yeah, excuse me. So quickly, let's perform content search. So what should we check for? I think the account I have been using very well is this account I've used to sign in, which is Adele. Okay, Adele. So let's perform a content search on Adele. All I need to do is click on new search. When you click on new search, you have this page open where you need to give the search a name. If you like, you can add a description, but it's not compulsory. But the name is very, very compulsory. Let me show you something. If I click on next without adding anything, without giving it a name, it doesn't allow me. No field, name field is required. So let's say I add a description here. Nigeria M365 Community Day, right? And I click on next, I still have this. So, but if let me shorten this. If I say NM365 CD, so Nigeria Microsoft 365 Community Day, and then I take out the description, it allow me go. But let's go back and add the description. So I click on next. So this is where you get to, right, to the locations that the content search would actually search for. Excuse me. So we have 3 locations here. We have Exchange mailboxes, we have SharePoint, and then we have Exchange public folders, right? So if you see here, you have the Microsoft 365 groups, you have Teams, and you have Yammer user message. So Yammer is like a corporate Facebook, right? Most people don't use it, but a tenant, like I said, is your organization. So it's a corporate, it's a business account. So you can have your business social media. So Yammer is used for that. And then one thing you should also know is when you create a SharePoint site, it creates a Microsoft 365 group and creates a team. A Teams in Microsoft Teams. When you create a Teams in Microsoft Teams, it creates a Microsoft 365 group, it creates a SharePoint site. So all these services are kind of interrelated. Not kind of, they are interrelated. So we need to also take note of that. So let's see, I want to perform, I want to select this location, Exchange mailboxes, and I say, let me choose my account. You have to choose a user. It's not compulsory. You can click on next. It takes you to next place, but it's also good you select a user. So let's search for the account I'm using for demonstration. Let's see. Deal. Just bear with me. Yeah, I select the account. Mind you, you can select more than one account. However, you also need to be conscious of the limitations we spoke about. So if I select more than one account, or I select 10 accounts, or I select 20 accounts, and then after the search, right, I'm hitting some limitations, right, which would also see later. So for now, I'll just select this account. I'll click on done, and then it shows that one account is selected here. I can also turn this on SharePoint. I can decide to select the site, right? Or I don't need to select the site. You should check for all sites as it's showing here, or I can decide to say a specific site. I can decide to choose a specific site. So I click on next. So this is where you have to really, really perform the magic. You can use Custo query language. It's a query language by Microsoft. If you know how to do that, right? You can also use that. Let me quickly just talk about this. If I proceed. Yes. It's called KQL, is called Custo Query Language. It's a powerful tool that is used to explore your data and discover patterns, identify anomalies. So it's when you see discover patterns, identify anomalies and outliers, creating statistical modelings and more, right? So this is now tending towards artificial intelligence, data analysis, and data science. So yes, you should be able to see samples of this KQL. If you are interested in that, you can also look into that. But let's go back to where we were, and then we'll use the query builder. So for the query builder, we have a lot of conditions here. What you need to do is to click on add conditions. So now I want to check for emails between Joshua. I have an account called Joshua and I have an account called Adele, right? And then yes, I want to check the emails between them or conversations between them, right? What I need to do is I can come here and say sender, right? I click on sender and then I can type Joshua. I can type my full email there, or let's not even use sender. Let's start with the basic one. Let's come to this. Let's use message kind. Type rather. So I want to search for email messages. I want to search for documents, instant messages, as Teams chat and the likes. I can click on this to see more. I can decide to say I want to check for appointments that were created on that person's calendar. I want to see the contacts. I want to see the meetings, all meetings that were cancelled, meeting requests. I want to see all these. I want to see message recall reports. I want to see if the person used planner. I want to see if the person used forms. I want to also see if the person had some task, right? So Microsoft 365 is actually a complete suite for effective and efficient discharging of your duties corporate wise in your organization. So you can have tasks to organize your day, and then you can have planner for project management and the likes. So I can decide to say task request and all that. I have a lot here. I can decide to use. I select all that, right? I have 10 selected. And then I want more conditions. I want the sender is this person. The sender is Joshua, right? I choose Joshua. And then I also want that the title. I want to also search for the title. So, but now notice something. It's using and. It's using and. It's using and. It's not using or. And from our basic mathematics, physics, and the likes, right? And if you are using the and operator, both conditions have to be met, right? Before you get a result. But if I'm using or, so that I get, I can say A or B. So I can get results from A or I can get results from B. But if I'm using and A and B, I have to get the same result for A and B. So I don't have a title for any of the email messages, but we'll quickly do something and then we'll come back. So I can decide to, let me delete this. I'm not running this. So I can decide to also check for author, right? I can type the author's name here. I can decide to also check for recipient, choose the name, and then I can also say I want to see if the message was sent. I want this condition that the message was sent between so hours or so days, right? I can decide to do all that. I can decide to also say if there's a retention label, right? I will enter the label names here and then separate them with a semicolon. I can decide to say, okay, I want to run a search for any of the items here. I can decide to say even file type. And then I type the file type here, maybe a doc, a Microsoft Word document, a PowerPoint, SLS is Excel, a PDF, and even more, right? I can do a lot of other things, but for now, let's stick with all this. And then I think I selected the sender to be this. So let me put the recipient to be Adele. Let me not put any recipient. Let me just proceed with search. So these are the search criteria. For KQL, this the query is different, but at least it should be under such criteria like this. You can, if you are not satisfied, you can go back and edit the name. You can edit this search criteria, and then you can edit the locations and the likes. But I'm okay with this. I'll just click on submit. When I click on submit, we'll see what comes up next. Excuse me. Okay, so new search created. Soon you will be able to review, estimate, and preview results of your search. So I'll click on done. Right? I'll click on done. I'll refresh. Yes, I'll refresh this page. Refresh from here. I don't want to refresh the entire page. I'll refresh this page here. So we should see our new search. So this is the new search. If I click on this and you see that this was performed or modified by this person, and then see the time here. So if I click on this, you would see summary, last run and order status. The search is starting, right? All sites is selecting all sites. That's for the SharePoint and OneDrive part, right? So this is still running. And then as you can see, this is done searching. I have 16 items. 16 items. The search is complete because there are no much information, right? The search is complete, and then it's just one mailbox, all site. All right, thank you. So this search is complete. It's completed, right? So let me see something. I have sorry, let me quickly show us something here. All right, let me open this document on this browser. I want to show us something before I proceed with. So one of the limitations is that a maximum of 10 items per mailbox can be removed. So this is when I want to delete this search, right? We'll get to that. I just wanted to bring that to our attention. So I have 10 here. So let's say I want to delete this search. I want to delete all these items that were found in this mailbox, right? And I run a PowerShell. Because it's telling me that a maximum of 10 items per mailbox, right? If I run this, it will only remove the first 10 items. So it means I have to run the remove or the purge PowerShell script twice, right? So I can remove the remaining 16. So, but we'll get to that when we're trying to remove. So now the next item or the next step is to see, let's say we want to review. We can decide to review or want to see the actions that are available, export results, copy search, and maybe I didn't find what I'm looking for after reviewing. I can come back here to edit the search and then perform the search. So but first, let's go to review. So here now it opens up the page and then show me each of the emails that have been exchanged between Joshua and Adele, right? So no email here. Nothing here. So we would have to run another search, right? But if there's anything here, you'll see them listed under this no data. So let me go back. let me quickly perform export results here, and then I'll do something else. Export results. So yes, I want to export this result. All items excluding ones that have unrecognized format. All items including ones that have unrecognized format. Only items that have unrecognized format. So depending on what you want, but I always like to go with the second option so that I have everything exported. And then I can filter through and see to check what I want, right? And then for the exchange content, it exports this as a PST, right? And then you can see one PST for each mailbox. So if you are searching through 10 mailboxes, it will create 10 PST for each mailbox if you go with this option. Or if I say one PST file containing all messages, so even if you have 50 accounts, let's just say 10, 20, 30 accounts, right? 20 accounts, and then I have just one PST for those 20 accounts. And then I can also decide to check one PST file containing all messages in a single folder. Then I always like to go with this. So one PST file containing all the messages from all the mailboxes I have chosen, right? And then and everything. I have everything here, and then I click on export. So let's see what comes up. So while this is coming up, let me come back here. Let me do something. Open my Outlook. I'll open my Teams, and then I'll open, yeah, those two. So you will be wondering, why don't I have content, or why didn't I populate it with content? No, I want us to have the glimpse, or to have the full package. So not that. Right, so let me do something quickly. I send an email to Joshua. Yep. Test email. I send. Test. I send. I'll send another email to same Joshua. Test 2. I attach a file here. Let me see. Let me browse. Sorry. Testing with this file. Let me use this. Yes, attached. Testing with this file. Right, I click on send, and then I come to Teams. Right. So I think this is still running. Okay, so can you see this? Can we all see this? You don't have export permissions. A compliance administrator or a member of organization management role group can assign you a role with export permissions. Only eDiscovery Manager and eDiscovery Administrator have export permissions, right? So I have to go and give myself export permission. So, but before I do that, let's see what I have here. I come to calendar, and then I create, let me name it a test, Nigeria M365 Community Day meeting, right? I'll just copy this same and paste it in here. So Adele is the organizer, so I'll just add Joshua. I'll add Alex Weber. So these two, and then I send. So for those two, Joshua and Alex, right? This should also show on their calendar. So now let's go back and add permissions. Let's go back and add permissions. I can't export because I don't have permissions. So let's go back and add permissions. Come to Exchange. Let's come here. Role groups. Come to roles and scopes. Under settings. So just bear with me. I think it's a little bit slow. Let me also check here. Still loading. Okay, you can come to roles here in Exchange and click on admin roles. What do I want? I can decide to add myself to this role, but that's not what I want. I want okay, these are exchange rules, but let me just do something. Let me just add my account here. Okay, and then I come back here. This is still loading. So these are some of the things you would get while trying to perform content search, right? So that's why I spoke about permissions earlier, and then we have also seen this. So I would duplicate this tab while this is running, right? I would like to also quickly show us the emails I've sent already, and then the meeting invite. So I come to solutions, I come to e-discovery, classic content search, so rows is still loading. And then we perform a new search. Nigeria M365 community day 2, right? If I remove this, you say this name already exists. So I'll put 2. And then I click on next. I'm searching this. I am also searching this. Let me quickly go back here. I go to search, chat rather. Let me see. Joshua. Okay, this is it. Sending a test chat. Send this. It's ticked. Okay. So we are back here. All right, here. So let me quickly do this. E-discovery manager. Sorry, I'm jumping from one end to another. I just want to complete this so that just do the rest at once. So yeah, choose users. Click on choose users. Come here. I search. I do. Let's wait for this to come up. Give me. So let's wait for this to finish loading. So just to maximize our time, still giving me error here. Okay, I have Joshua, Adil. Let me select this, Joshua. Let me try to add again. Joseph, are you on the call? Emmanuel, Oyimafu.
Yes, bro. I'm on the call.
Okay, please help me check this. It's giving me error. I'm trying to add a user to this, my user to this role group, and it's giving me error. Please help me check from your end if you are getting the same error too. So yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's here now.
I think it's up now.
Yes, thank you. So I have Adil Vance here. I select Adil Vance and then I click on next. E-Discovery Manager, if I like, I add them, but like I showed you in the documentation, E-Discovery Administrator is part of the E-Discovery Manager. But let me just add this one that it's giving me serious issue to search like this. I mean, okay, nice. So I click on this. I click on next. I add this user. I save. So this user now is part of the e-discovery and manager and e-discovery administrator role. So it's submitting, right? So while this is submitting, I'll come back here. Okay, it's back. I click on done. So I would need to refresh the entire page. So while this is submitting, let's come back here. So now I created a chat between Joshua and Adil. I sent an email from Adil to Joshua. I also created a meeting invite, right? And I added Joshua and Alex. So I'll pick exchange mailboxes. I'll pick these three users. Where is this? So I'll pick Joshua. I'll pick Alex. And then I'll pick Adil. Yep. I'll click on done. So for sites, I would say, excuse me, I would say all sites. I would say all sites. If you notice, I've been unchecking this on-premise. I don't have on-premise users, so that's why I'm unchecking it. I would say all sites. I haven't set up any site or added any of these users to any site. I think it's only Adil. So I'll click on next. So this time I'll come to conditions. Let me start with type. I have email, right? I have document. I have instant messages. And then I have meetings. Meeting requests. These are the things I would choose, right? And then the next one is I would come and say the sender. I can decide to use the sender. I can decide to use two, and then choose. I sent an email to Joshua, yeah. And then I can also decide to say the sender. Yes, I choose Adil. And then There's one more thing. Yes, the title. The title. Let me use this one, the title. So the title, let me go back to my teams. I have a teams calendar I set up here. I'll copy this title the way it is. And then I'll come here, I'll add the title. So let's try with this. Let me go back. It says I've used this note. Let's change with this. Let me use this also. Let's see. So you have used the filter that will not apply to specific workload. You have selected exchange. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let me go back and remove this one. That's fine. That's for my team, so it's fine. I'll click on submit. While this is submitting, let me quickly check this one. Solutions, discovery. Let me see if I can export now. We come here, export results on this. Let's see what comes up. I shouldn't get that error anymore, but I might still get it if the rule assignment has not been propagated, but it's not properly propagated. So let me come here. This is done. So let me refresh, and then I click on this. It should show me starting. Yeah. So this did not even bring up anything, which actually shows us that our search criteria are actually actually wrong. Yeah. So let's go back and rerun this. We go to next. We come here. We selected how many users. I'm just seeing one. It's supposed to be 3. Alex. It's supposed to be 3. Alex. And then Joshua. I hope I am working on the right one. Guys, sorry, please. Okay, yeah, this is it. I'm working on the right one. Okay, so done. And then let's go to the next one. I have senders Adele. I have as Joshua. Let me add Alex because the meeting invite was sent to him. So I click on next, submit. So now I'm getting a new error. So which means I no longer have issues with the permission, right? So let me click on OK, and then let me refresh to see why I'm getting this error. So export. So let's come back here, do for this. Let's come here. So it's still searching. It's still starting rather. Yeah, it's still searching. So let's wait for that. And then we come here. So it's saying the parameter scenario is not a valid URL option for the CMDL. Blah, 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 blah. Parameter name, parameter. Iman, Joseph, please, can you help me check for this error? Why? We continue.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so this is still running. So while this is running, right, we have spent much time. So let's go to PowerShell. So I believe all of us have seen the process of creating or performing a content search and then the criteria, right? So again, it gave me, I have 3 mailboxes, but it gave me 0 items. So we need to go back now and to run again. So sometimes you kind of find yourself in such situations, right? Where you have to fine tune what's the name, the conditions to be able to get what you want. So that's the position where we are now. So let me remove this. Let me remove this, and then let me remove this, and then let me run again. I think I still got that error. So I would wait for Joseph and Emma to help me with that error. So the next, while this is running, just to ensure that we maximize time, go to PowerShell. So PowerShell, if you are not conversant with PowerShell, please don't run PowerShell, because you can do some things on the GUI and then you can, let's say you delete user, you can restore them. However, if you use PowerShell to do something, delete users and do other things, especially when you do permanent deletion, you won't be able to recover most of those things. So first, I would have to connect to my SharePoint online management shell, and then also connect to the security and compliance portal using the PowerShell. So I have PowerShell scripts I've written that I always use for myself. So I have them with the comments just to differentiate, right? So let's say, for example, I've not used PowerShell on this system before now, right? And I want to use PowerShell. So you would have to use a command cmd-let, which is a set execution policy to allow you to run PowerShell on this device. And then you have to import the online management shell. You have to update it. And then you can also see you want to update it for the current user, right? That you're running this PowerShell on this particular machine. And then you can also, so sometimes, especially for this PowerShell ISC, and please note, when you are running this PowerShell, you have to run it as administrator. So let me close and start. So you come to start button, you type PowerShell, right? You see them, you have PowerShell ISC, and then you have the normal PowerShell. If I run this as admin, I'll get the normal PowerShell. Right? I have to start running the scripts one after the other, right? But no, I want to run the PowerShell ISC where I can have all my scripts in one place, and then I can execute them line by line. So I'll click on this, I'll click on OK. I don't know if PowerShell is coming up for me. PowerShell ISC. So let me run this again. Run as admin. Okay, so it's coming up now. So I have a blank sheet. And again, nobody would ask you to cram PowerShell scripts. There are documents online where you can just go get the script, right? And then when you have them, you know you always use them. You can form your own script and then have them saved, and then you can always use it at any time. So I have mine saved. Let me see. I have it saved. Yes, XOPS. I'll click on it, so I have it here. So sometimes I might have PowerShell, a version that when I run compliance search to either purge or to delete, I get an error. You can say, okay, you want to uninstall that particular version, you first uninstall, and then you can also install the particular version you want. So here I have version 3.51 installed. So that's the one I am using, right? And then I can decide to say I want to install all versions and then install all versions, update and install all versions. I can take this out, right? And then run to install all versions. And then it installs the latest version for me. And then I can also actually use this to check the version that is installed for me. So let's run this. Please look at the blue part on the screen here. Yes, so I have version 3.40 installed. So meaning I have not installed this. Let me install this. Version 3.5.1. Let's see what I get. Let me come back here and edit this search again. So let me take out this and then use only this and then come. I come back here, I have type, I have true, I have, sorry, I have participant, I have Alex, I have Joshua, I have Adele, and then I come to let me also choose file type. I have think docs. Let me run again. So this is still running. Okay, so it's installed now. So let me go back here to check, verify the version that is installed. I click on this. So I have 3.51 installed now, right? So how do I connect to Exchange Online? I use the connect Exchange Online command to actually connect. So I can decide to connect with the username, or I can decide to say, let me remove the username. Right, let me remove the username and then run it. So I'll have to impute the username myself, right? I have to impute the username myself. I have to choose which of the username I want to use, or if it's not here, I can click on add username. So, but let me go back and use the username I'm using, and then I click on this. So again, when you go to the PowerShell, when you go to connect to Exchange Online PowerShell, actually, right, you would see why I'm using that account. Connect. I should be done in the next 8 minutes. So let's see, connect to Exchange PowerShell Online. So connect. Let me show you. If you're using MFA to sign in, and then if you're not using MFA to sign in, so you have the import shell here, you have the connect, right? You can use this command and then have all these things set. You put your UPN here, that's your email address, user principal name, and then let me see the other one. So yes, if you aren't using MFA, you should add the credential parameter, right? Which is this. That's why I have it in here. That's why I have it in here, the credential or the user principal name. As you can see here, I have it here. So the password now, I remember the password. Okay, I will have to stop sharing my screen so I don't see my password. Quickly, please. Okay, so I have my password here. Where's the email for password? Somebody saying I can trust you guys. Okay, I trust you guys. I trust you guys. All right. So I'm sharing my screen again. So, but again, that's actually a valid something we need to discuss about, right? Don't trust anybody with your password, please, because anybody that gets your admin password, your account is your tenant is a mess. It's gone. You can do and undo. So yeah, let me sign in. Okay, so yeah, I'm connected now. Version 3. This is version 3 Exo PowerShell module. So it's not on here. Okay, yeah. So next, I like following the steps, right? One after the other. So you would see that I also have to connect to SRC, security and compliance, right? I have the connect IPP session, IPPS session, right? You can also use this for your exchange, but yeah, I like going step by step so that I don't leave any stone unturned. I don't want to be this, what's the name? I don't want to be debugging or yeah, troubleshooting errors with PowerShell. Let me tell us a story. I remember when I first started using PowerShell, and then when I use the other PowerShell, the red is not this kind of red. You get like thick red, like thick red, right? And then it gives me, they call PTSD, right? And I see red everywhere, and then you debug, and then it's actually very simple, right? Just for you to follow the rules and regulations. So let me do this. So this kind of red, you get this kind of red, which actually gives me, yeah. So I'm connected now. So now let's create a search. Let's create a search using PowerShell. So I have the new compliance search. I give it a name. Let me give it a name. Let me say NM365 Community Day 3. And then I'm searching Adele's email, and then the content query, match query, I'm searching for anything Gmail, or let me say test. Let me search for anything test and Gmail, right? When I run this, it should create a search for me, not started. So now when we go back to this point, let me come back here. When we go back to this point and I refresh this page, can you see 3 here? Can we all see it here? So it creates this for me, and then nothing is showing here. The search has not started, right? So when the search starts, I should be able to, and then I can also come back here to edit the search criteria and all that. Let me even see the search criteria. It chose the location for me, exchange, and then just use the keyword test and Gmail, right? So I'll go back. Sorry, let me minimize this. I'll cancel this, yes. And then I'll just refresh to see if this just started. Right, I have 2 more minutes. So this is coming up. Please bear with me. I don't know if it's my network now or... So let me quickly run one more search, please. Let me show something, Teams. I'll select this. Teams, I have Alex. I have... Sorry guys, I'm almost done. We have done the creation of search with PowerShell. So it's just remaining for us to delete. I want to show us something. Sorry, I'm writing delete. We've actually covered everything. So we are done already, and we can take questions and then interact also. So one thing I want us to take from this session is you can always modify your search until you get what you want. So for this now, I'll just choose I'll choose sender. I think, yeah, sender is Adil. I'll choose type, right? I'll choose meetings. Where's meetings? I'll choose everything meetings. I'll choose everything meetings because I don't know. I want to check for the particular one we just did. That's the calendar. And then I would also choose subject or title now. So I'll choose title, and then I would use the title of this meeting. Yeah. And then two, I'll use two. I would use Alex and Joshua. So let's run this one more time, and then we are done. So let me come back here. Let me check this one, if this one is running, it's done running already. So again, one thing you need to take out is the steps on how to, this is not started yet, so I can't even do anything here. How to run this, and then how to modify your searches. And then if you are curious like me, then you can also learn the KQL, the Kusto query language. And then that would also be very, very okay. So let me refresh. Let me see if this is running. Okay, this search is complete. It got 0 items. It did not get what I want. Right? It didn't get what I want. So it's not getting what I want. It's not getting what I want. It's not getting what I want. The sender is this. The title is this. Let me remove this. So while that is running, this is how to create a content search with PowerShell. And then this is not just everything you need to put, right? There are other parameters that you need to also include. So let me see. I have the PowerShell here, and then you have other parameters: allowed, not found, exchange. You have the case, the confirm, and all this, they have explanations here. You have sample data, sample queries you can run. And then for each of them, allowed, the allowed parameter specifies whether to include mailboxes other than regular user mailboxes, right? And then the next one, case, right? The case parameter specifies the name of this discovery standard case to associate the new compliance search with. So all of them have their own explanation. You can come here and then modify the what's the name, the the PowerShell CM delete I have specified here. You can add more parameters, filters, and then you run it, right? So the next one is, let's say I have created this search and I want to delete this search. So that's why I was actually trying to run for these teams, right? To run for these teams, to check the calendar, and then you see how it gets removed from my calendar. So maybe it's going to be an assignment for us, and then we can do that as an assignment by ourselves, right? So the name of the search is Teams. I come back here to my PowerShell. I have the new compliance search action. You know, there's a difference. This one is compliance search. There's an action attached to this. So the search name now has to be the name of the search I created, which is Teams, right? And then what do I want to do? I want to soft delete. I want to purge it. So let me copy this. I like running both, and then I change this to hard delete. So when I click on this, let me confirm if this is completed. Okay, it's completed. Teams 00. Let me use this one. Let me use this one that has some items. 16 items, 1.65. So I come back here. I change this from Teams to this name, right? And I click on run. I'll start with the first one. I click on run. So as you can see at the bottom here, it brings up this prompt and says, are you sure you want to perform this action? This action will make message items, meetings, the criteria, this completing inaccessible to users. Meaning this, whatever has been found here in this search, whatsoever has been found in this search that contains this 1.65 MB and the 16 items, when I execute this command, it gets deleted from those user mailboxes, right? So let's see how many users I have here. I have Adele. I have just one mailbox. So for this particular mailbox, Adele, it's going to delete all this, whatever item is found here. I can't review because it's showing 0 and it's not showing anything here. So I click yes to all. I always like to use yes to all so that everything is captured, right? And I click on this, I get an error message. Why do I get an error message? Because Purge does not support SharePoint and OneDrive workload. Can we please mute? I don't know. Yes, I'm done, please. So Purge does not support OneDrive and SharePoint. That's why I get this error message. Do you get? So now let's go back to the one I used only Teams for, right? Teams, which I only selected, what's the name? Exchange. When I run this, I won't get that same error. So what is this telling us? That you can use content search to search for items. However, if you want to purge, you can only purge for Exchange mailboxes, but you cannot purge for OneDrive and SharePoint. So how can you remove files, SharePoint, OneDrive, files in SharePoint and OneDrive? We would have to check for that particular parameter, which is definitely not purge that you have here, right? So now it's telling me that for this one that I just ran, it's saying starting. So to get the status, let me run it again and let's see. It should show me the status if it's completed or not. So it's showing completed. It's showing completed. So what does this mean? That every item that has been found in this search for all the users that are contained in this team search, right? That particular, what's the name? The search criteria that we used, right? The search criteria that we used for teams, which should include the title, and then what's the name, which should include we have the title here, right? And then from this user Adil, and then we have two. We remove two. So whatever title from this user has been removed, right? And then remember, I also showed you a document that says after 10 items, if you have items that populate more than 10, you have more than 10 items, maybe you have a user I worked with recently has 92. So you would have to run it multiple times to get all these items removed per mailboxes, right? Yeah, that would be all from my end. I think we've done that. So the only thing that we got an error was the exports. Let me try it one more time before I hand over to Emmanuel. I don't know if Emmanuel and Joseph have been able to help me with why I'm getting that error.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So please go ahead.
Okay.
So I'm
So
still
when
getting
I
that
check,
error.
yeah, when I checked, I discovered that you need to wait for like 1 hour at least, or 24 hours for the permission to get propagated. But
Propagating.
although we can check if export is added, if export permission is added from on the compliance manager. So we can just check that because that's just the only thing. But we did the right thing actually. So we may just need to wait for a while.
For a while. So yes. Okay. Thank you, Emmanuel. So we got our answers there, right? So 1 hour, 24 hours, and then if you go back, if I come back here and run it, I should be able to export. So let's quickly confirm if export manager from e-discovery manager. Yeah, let's see. So roles in this group, yes, export is there. So we have
Okay.
export. Yes.
That means it's just
Export.
time. It's just time,
Just
basically.
time. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for the time for listening. I think we can ask questions now, or Emmanuel, I'm handing over to you. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Okay. Thank you very much, MVP. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. So let's show some love to our wonderful speaker, Joshua Adigun. It's not easy to have an MVP speak to you. It's a great honor. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I can see the reactions. I can see the reactions from everywhere. From everywhere. Like, thank you. Thank you. So this is an opportunity where we can ask questions. I can see somebody raising up his hands. Thank you. So you can go ahead. Or more. And no more. Thank you. Can go ahead. Unmute your mic. You could just talk. You could unmute your mic. Or more.
Sorry, that was a mistake.
Okay. No problem. No problem. So I can see some questions on the chat. Someone is asking, can such a user use PowerShell to manage their other M365 apps data as well?
Yes, you can use PowerShell to manage all the Microsoft 365 services, right? SharePoint Online, OneDrive for Business. So SharePoint and OneDrive for Business goes hand in hand, right? And we have Exchange Online. Like I said, you can also use PowerShell on premise, Exchange on premise. You can use PowerShell for Teams. So there are different PowerShell, PowerShell scripts for each of those technologies and services. So you can use PowerShell even for identity, that's Entra ID, right? Formerly Azure Active Directory. You can use PowerShell to do anything.
Okay, thank you very much. I can see our community leader, Emmanuel Itoje, is on the call. Well done,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, MVP, sir.
MVP.
Nice MVP. Thank you, sir. That's a wonderful session. That's a wonderful session. Guys, if you have feedback for us, right? We're supposed to send out forms, but I feel that the forms are not effective. So I always like to appreciate if you can even have a feedback on this call, something we can do better, some things, a topic that you're expecting for us to share, because we plan to be very dynamic for this year deep dive session, like what Joseph did, what Joshua is doing today, and what Rafael did in the last month as well. So we want to be dynamic. We want to bring topics that are actually, peculiar to you guys, something you appreciate, right? That's a goal for this year. So if you have feedback for us, we operate an open door policy. The WhatsApp group is free. You can always DM us, give us a feedback, right? And we'll take everything into consideration. And another thing I want to add for a follow-up to this session, right? I mean, it's something that I would appreciate if you all can do. Like there is an apply skills for this particular session that Joshua just took us today, right? Implement retention, e-discovery, and communication compliance in Microsoft Preview. So it's something that is going to actually broaden your knowledge once you take this particular apply skill. It's free. By the time you are done with it, it's actually hands-on. You'll be implementing this, right? On the operation of VM for you to implement. You implement it, and once you are successful in all the tasks, you get a certificate, an applied skill certificate, right? Which is actually something that will be very good on your profile. So I've shared the link with us in the chat, so you can just pick it up and learn more about e-discovery, because e-discovery, there are actually 3 levels. There is a content search part that Joshua has taken us through. There is a standard part also that you mentioned. There's also the e-discovery premium. So for this apply skills, they just added the communication compliance to it, and also the retention part of things. So this will actually be, it will be very helpful to us. So wonderful session, Joshua. Thank you so much. I mean that, so the deep dive session, apologies, right? It was actually my fault. I just uploaded it this morning. So it's currently on our YouTube channel. I'm going to share the link. I thought I've actually uploaded it because I usually do stuff immediately after the session so that I don't forget because of how busy I am. If you go to our YouTube channel, you should see it there. But however, I'm trying to get the link. So if you have more questions, guys, you can ask your questions. The floor is actually open for questions.
So I think someone asked a question that can an ordinary user use PowerShell to perform what we just did? The answer is no. That user account that you'll be using, or the account you'll be using, must actually be an admin account, right? A global admin account, or depending on the particular admin role you are given, right? And then if you are giving a user administrator, you can only use that account to perform user activities or user functions, even with PowerShell. So yes, depending on the role you have, but a user account without any administrative account cannot. You can jump into PowerShell, do 1 or 2 things within your with your account. You can check your SharePoint, check your Teams, do other things, but to do administrative functions that if you are a user, if your account is just another user account, you can't actually log into the admin portal here where you have here, right? So yes, if you're just a user account, if you just have a user account, you can't actually perform this, except you're just performing some things that are actually restricted to your account, maybe creation of a team, as if it's even allowed, creation of a SharePoint site and the likes.
Let me add to that. So in addition to what Joshua just mentioned, so the idea of PowerShell is the same thing as you signing into Microsoft 365 Administrator. So instead of using the GUI, right, you have the opportunity for PowerShells, which help you do a lot of functions in terms of automations. So the very first time you are connecting to PowerShell, right, it will actually give you a pop-up to put in a credential. So if that credential that you're putting in is not an admin credential, that means you don't have the needed permission or the necessary role to manage any of the services, maybe as an Exchange administrator, a SharePoint administrator, a Teams administrator, or a security and compliance administrator, right? Then it's the PowerShell is basically leveraging on your current admin assets that you have on the tenant. So if you're just a user, so you can only do user functionality. You can't do admin stuff. So the same thing goes to the PowerShell too. So it's only when you have the necessary permission to the tenant, that's when you'll be able to use the PowerShell to do administrative stuff, just like a tenant. Yeah. So I think you have no. Sorry, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. You can ask your question, please.
Okay. Hi guys. Good evening. I am sure you want to call my name because you have called the first Omo before.
Okay. Go
And
ahead.
she said, okay. Hi everyone. Good evening, and thank you so much to us. A huge thank you to our speaker. You actually did an amazing job. Okay, so I'm new in this space. This is my second time, and you actually did and it was straightforward. Thank you so much to you, and I wish to connect with you on LinkedIn or any social media, please. So there's one part I miss out on why you're trying to connect on the PowerShell. So is it that you connect, first of all, you have to connect the SharePoint before you take any action? Yes, I had two questions, but one has been attended to already. And the one where I said, when someone asks rather that if any ordinary user can make use of PowerShell, but you already addressed that. So my second question, I don't know if I'm taking you back. I like to see where you connected when you connected to SharePoint. So I don't know how that is possible. Is it that you first of all connect to the SharePoint before you take any action like delete or modify any? Yes. I don't know if my question is clear enough. I can take it again. Sorry, you are muted in case you are talking. Sorry.
Thank you. Right. So those of us that said I should increase the size of my screen when I was on PowerShell, I have done that now. I hope we can see clearly now. So I don't know. I've shared the document already. Yeah, so we can go through that, but I can also share the commandlet I have here. So to answer your question, I actually connected to Exchange Online and then security and compliance, that's Purview, not SharePoint. So there's a different commandlet to connect to SharePoint, that's PowerShell script to connect to SharePoint and even Teams and even Entra ID. So first, what you need to do, like I said, is you need to be very sure that your system is set or allowed to run PowerShell on your to run PowerShell basically. And then that's the first step. Then the second step is when you have verified that, you need to import the Exchange Online PowerShell module, right? You need to import it. But after importing it, then you also need to update it. So sometimes, depending on, I'm using Windows 11, so I think there was an issue towards the end of last year and even early this year where people had issues. Immediately they update the PowerShell module, they can't, and they try to run this compliance PowerShell script. They get errors, right? And then, so yes, if you update the module, it updates you to the latest PowerShell version. However, if the version this particular script works with, right, is version 3.51, like I have here. I actually had to use this because while I was carrying out my test, right, I encountered that error also. So I needed to ensure that I'm installing the same module, right, the same Exchange Online module. However, I'm installing the particular version that will allow me run those commandlets. After I'm done installing them, right, and then I would have to connect to Exchange Online. EXO means Exchange Online. Yeah, connecting to Exchange Online, because I'm not using MFA, I'm using this parameter, the user principal name, right, with this, or the credential, right? So, but if I'm using MFA, I don't need to use this. I can just connect using this. But again, I like to connect directly again to the security and compliance portal using the connect IPPS session, right? And then the username, my username, which has admin credentials, before I'm able to perform anything that relates to security, to compliance, or to purview. So if I don't connect to these modules, I won't be able to run this. So let's try something. Let's try something quickly. Let me run PowerShell again. But this time I'll run the other PowerShell. I'll run it. Remember to always run it as administrator, right? I come here. Let me split my screen. Yeah, then this one. Yes. So I have not connected to Exchange Online. I have not connected to security and compliance. Let me just run this command. Let's see if it's going to give me an error to just connect. Okay, so Gmail, and then I'll do this. So let me press enter. So you see, I'll get an error. The term new compliance search is not recognized as a name of a CMDlet, commandlet, function, or script file or operatable. So this is because on this particular PowerShell now, I have not connected to the required modules, the mandatory modules, Exchange Online and security and compliance. So if I go now and I connect to this, right? If I connect to this, I've forgotten my password again. Let me quickly stop sharing. I think somebody saw my password earlier when I pasted it. So yeah. Okay, I won't forget again. So bear with me. And then confirm you can see my screen, please. Shit. So now confirm you can see my screen, please. Can we see my screen?
Yes. Yes, I can see your screen. Sorry.
Okay, so I paste my password here and I click on sign in. Click on sign in. So EXO PowerShell, right? I'm connected, it's connecting. I just hope it doesn't ask me for my password again. Don't mind me, I'll just copy and paste. So let's just wait for this to get connected. All right, so I connect to security and compliance. Yeah, it's the same thing actually. If you see, it's the same command, but I like calling it, in my head, it's mapped as Exchange Online and security and compliance, so don't mind me. So, but yeah, it's the same thing. It does the same thing. You see them, the write-ups are actually the same thing. Version 3 gets you into security and compliance. That's purview, and then security, exchange online, right? And then if I come back to run this command again, this one here, this command here, and I change it, let's say to 4, and I press enter, I shouldn't get an error. Can you see? Because I have connected to the required module. Hence the reason why I'm able to run this without an error. But first, when I tried running it, it did not recognize this command because I have not connected to the correct module. So do you now understand? Is that clear enough?
Yes, I'm getting it. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you
you're
so
welcome.
much, and God bless you.
Amen. God bless every one of us too. Thank you. Can we have the commands here, please? Okay, Joshua, Joseph. Yeah, thank you, Joseph. Joseph is also one of our MVPs. Thank you, Emmanuel Oyimafu, for the time, for having me here. Thank you, Emmanuel, Itoje. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the community leaders for having me here. So I've pasted the command so you can filter what you want and all that. All right, so any other questions? Also, can we have training series of Entra ID
So Mike, I
topics?
see your So Mike, I see your feedback on the training on intra ID topics. I will say it doesn't fall within M365. However, the Nigeria security community is going to be having a session on this by second Saturday in March. So you can join that session, right? We'll be having a session around this in that particular, it should be 8th of March, right? So join that session because there is a series on is it 500 currently going on, and this is part of the topic. So that the next topic that we're treating is this particular topics. So join that community and you will learn about HAP registration, HAP policy, and enterprise applications. I'm not sure there's any other question. Emmanuel, you can take over the session.
So once again, thank you very much, our MVPs in the house, Joshua Adigun and Emmanuel Itoje. So we're happy to have you guys today, and thank you, Joshua, for the wonderful section. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We'll be calling it an evening right now. So we really appreciate everyone. Thank you very much.
So let's do it again next month again. So another session. We have another amazing topic by another speaker. So we look forward to seeing everybody by March meetup, rather. All right, awesome. So if you want to join the session that Michael posted